A little bit after 5. Welcome to the show. This is Ingrid Mishmash Mingle-Lus discussing G&T. So what's the big hype around G&T? If you look on my counter, you'll notice that there are so many different ones that we have here. All of these in their containers, displayed just beautifully. We're just going to stop for 1 second. And we're back. Well, G&T, what's the hype around G&T? You may have wondered, where did gin originate? Often you see a label that says London Dry, and many people think that that's where it originated. Alas, it did not originate in London, England. In fact, we owe the wonderful elixir called gin to the Dutch. Yes, you may have heard of Geneva, Genève. That's the gin. And when you think about it, gin has become so popular around the world. And at the moment, people are drinking gin on just about any occasion. You've often heard it say, it's never too late for a gin, but I always say it's never too early for a G&T either. So what was the origins of gin? As I said, the Dutch had started drinking this spirit, distilled spirit, but it was when the English arrived in Holland to help against the fight against the Spanish that they tasted this elixir. It also gave them what we now refer to as Dutch courage. So the original Dutch courage is gin. It encouraged them to, or gave them what we in South Africa call de plak om uit te gaan en oorlog te voer. It gave them the courage to go out into the battlefields. It was also pretty cold, of course, and so with the icy weather, they needed something to warm them, and that's what they had. They had the gin. So a little bit about it, but before we continue talking about the history, I think it's important for us to pour a little bit of the gin. Now, as you notice, as I've said, there are so many different ones on the market now. And what is the hype around all these different gins? You know, there's been a move toward origin, provenance, where things come from. What is the origin of the elixir? What is the origin of the wine? What is the origin of the bread? And so forth. And the same applies to gin. Although gin is used all over and is available everywhere, South Africa also prides itself in crafting beautiful gins. And so there are a whole lot of different ones. I've just got a few here. This one's called the El Gin, coming from the Elgin area where they actually produce apples. And that one is infused with blueberries. We have the one over here called Hope. And Hope is from the Cape because it's the Cape of Good Hope. So crafted gin has become very popular. Of course, it carries quite a price tag. And in the times in which we're living, that's a bit of a problem because not everybody can afford those prices that these craft gins fetch. However, for me, I also have a local gin that I'm very happy to use on a day-to-day basis. So if I'm going to enjoy a G&T at the end of the day, like today was a fabulous day in Cape Town, 30 degrees, mind you, so it was quite hot, which means that we need to chill out a little bit right now. So I've got a local gin, which I'm going to be using, and I'm not going to be using, well, I do have a measuring cup here. I'm going to pour a half of that because I don't want a very big one. And because it's been a hot day, I'm going to pour that into this glass over here. Let's just put it on the side, which gives me just a little taste. I'm going to add some of the ice. And when you do that, of course, you would use your tongs. I'm at home, so I'm simply going to use my hands and pick up the ice and put that into the glass. So we have a lot of ice in the glass. We also, if you have an ice crusher, by all means use the ice crusher. Here we have some lovely gin on ice. For the most of us, we would like to have a little mixer. So what do we use to mix? Of course, the traditional is tonic. So where did tonic come from? It said that tonic was brought over again with the British when they were in India. They had this soda, carbonated water which was just so bland, and the Indians had added the quinine to the water, to the carbonated water. And in fact, the quinine was meant to help with the problems that they were having out in the East. So it helped with the scurvy, it helped with the stomach problems that they were experiencing. So quinine is said to settle the stomach. So it's a digestive. And so gin and tonic became the real deal. So today, of course, G&T is very famous. Now, there are different kinds of tonics around as well. But the one thing that bothers me a great deal is the fact that a lot of the tonics have been sweetened with non-nutritive sweeteners. In other words, they put artificial sweeteners into the tonics. And quite honestly, for me, that gives a terrible, terrible aftertaste. I don't like that at all. So I went out to find some tonic without the added non-nutritive sweeteners. It was difficult to find because of the sugar tax in South Africa. They started putting all these artificial sweeteners into these mixes because of the tax, and it's difficult to actually find one without the sweeteners. However, for me, the local produced Schweppes is perfect, just perfect for me. No additives, no added flavor. However, I found on the shelf today, I found quite a few. There was this one called Clark's and Sons, and then of course the Fitch and Leeds, which originally, when I tried it, had these non-nutritive sweeteners, and they were not good at all for me because it added an aftertaste. I was thrilled to find this, which does not have the non-nutritive sweetener. In fact, it does have good old sugar. I found these two flavors. This one was the sparkling rose and cucumber flavored mix, and this one happens to be the blueberry with hints of cardamom. So you're getting all your botanicals in these as well. So let's try the blue and see what that is like. Of course, when you are trying your tonics, you should actually try a little bit of the tonic on its own, just to make sure that the flavor is right. And that's quite delicious. No aftertaste at all. So there we go. Instead of buying the rather expensive blue gins, you can in fact just buy a blue tonic. And then of course you want to put a little bit of lemon onto that and muddle it a bit to give it some added flavor. And then you have a blue G&T. Let's see what it's like. I think I put too little G into it. Needs a little extra dash. For me, again, as I said, a little extra on the G in that, because the maybe I put too much ice into it. Of course, depending on what your occasion is, you may want to choose a lovely bowl like this, sort of a fish bowl. So let's add some ice to the bowl. And we'll add a large G on this occasion. Of course, when a lady decides that she's going to have a G&T and the barman says to her, is that a double or a single? We never say double. After all, that's not quite ladylike. So we refer to it as a large. So I'm going to put a large into here, and although the measuring cup looks rather large itself, it really isn't that much. So on this one, I'm going to add a few summer fruits. We've got some peaches, we've got a little bit of apple that we're going to put in there, and let's just mix it through. And this makes a fabulous fruit cup. So let's add a few of that, mix it through, muddle it through, and now I'm going to add the ordinary tonic, which is the local Schweppes tonic, very, very neutral with the stronger flavor of the quinine. And of course, with the stronger flavor of the quinine, I'm just ensuring that I have protection for my digestive system. There we go. Simple as that. You could, of course, put a little decoration onto the edge if you wanted to, and that should be fine. Let's just put two of those on, and we'll have a little decoration. Oops, she's fallen right in, but then if that happens, just mix it right through. There we go. Just mind the little wooden stick at the end of it. And there we have a lovely fruit cup with G&T. Oh, yes. Now that is the flavor that I enjoy. Flavor of the quinine in the tonic coming through, and the gin coming through just beautifully. And of course, by the end of the day, when you've drunk it all, you will still have the fruit that you can chew on and enjoy. So, when you're out purchasing your gin, look out for those that are crafted, which means they're artisanal, handmade, really crafted, beautifully integrated with all the different botanicals, and that simply tells us that it's got some either herb or flavoring naturally that has been infused into the gin. I was hoping to have Carol Mills on the show tonight. She is the owner of Count's Liqueurs, which has received a double gold at the Michelangelo for her gin. She also has a Buchu gin, which is, of course, the herb that is said to have such wonderful properties, very good health benefits. And I'm hoping that soon we're going to have Carol on the show. So please pass a note in the comment section and tell me what's your favorite mix with G&T. I'd like to just say this one is really, really good. Then, of course, Carol often says that apple goes superbly with her Buchu gin. So next time when we're on the show, we're going to try the Buchu gin. In the meantime, I'd say to you, enjoy your evening, and of course, don't forget to buy your G&T. So please like the video, share it with your friends, and till next time, this is Ingrid Mishmash Mengelmus saying goodbye